In Geometry Dash, green usernames belong to unregistered users, players who never created an account. Most people think of them as beginners who make a few simple levels, play for a while, maybe leave a comment or two, and then either create an account or quit the game entirely. As a result, millions of levels and abandoned profiles have been left to sit untouched on the servers. But what if we've been overlooking them? Many players assume that almost every unregistered user from updates 1.9 through 2.1 was just an inexperienced creator, especially since the most well-known builders had already registered by then. However, that's far from the full story. Hidden among these forgotten accounts are levels that were years ahead of their time. Some introduced ideas that wouldn't become popular until much later, and others, if they had been discovered and rated, might have changed the course of Geometry Dash history. In this video, we'll explore these forgotten creators in chronological order and uncover why unregistered users might have been far more important than anyone realized. Our first creator has an unknown name, although many believe they simply went by SJ. They were most likely an active player during Update 1.0 and created 3 known levels with IDs ranging from 1,467 to 1,560. At the time, almost nobody was making artwork or levels that would be considered truly groundbreaking. The editor was extremely limited and most creations were simple jumps. SJ was different. One of the levels, SJ the City, was built around traveling through a city complete with the buildings, cars, and trucks. While that might not sound impressive today, recreating an entire city in Update 1.0 was incredibly ambitious. Their next level, SJ Hell, was even more remarkable. Near the end of the level, 2 large dragons appear, an impressive piece of artwork not only for 1.0, but arguably even for Update 1.7. Unfortunately, these levels went largely unnoticed. It's impossible to know what could have happened if they would gain attention. But it's interesting to imagine, if creators had seen what SJ accomplished in 1.0, the community may have started experimenting with artwork much earlier. In my opinion, the push towards artistic and highly creative levels could have happened in between updates 1.5 or 1.6, instead of update 1.7. By update 1.6, creating clubstep-inspired levels had become one of the biggest trends in Geometry Dash. Most of them were fairly average, simply copying RobTop's style without adding much of their own. But one level stood out from the rest. Ghetto Gospel by Primo Tupac was a clubstep-style level, but unlike its competitors, it featured a surprising amount of detail, creative structuring, gameplay that was fun, fair, and easy to read. For its time, it was far more polished than most levels in the trend. Unfortunately, the level contains a secret way, making it ineligible for a rate under the game's standards. In theory, this could have been fixed with a small update, but because the level remained largely unknown, it was never given that opportunity. It's impossible to know how much influence the level could have had, but I think it had the potential to encourage creators to focus on both detailed decoration and well-designed gameplay much earlier. If it had received the attention it deserved, highly detailed styles, such as the core style that became popular later, might have developed with a much greater emphasis on gameplay from the very beginning. By update 1.9, Geometry Dash had entered what many consider to be the beginning of the modern era. Artistic levels were becoming increasingly common, but levels built around a narrative were still incredibly rare. One of the earliest examples was Asuka by Jinhyun. Rather than focusing purely on visuals, Asuka tells an emotional story through its artwork and atmosphere. While the exact meaning was never explained by its creator, and likely never will, since they can no longer be contacted, the imagery leaves plenty of room for interpretation. My own interpretation is that the story follows a man grieving the loss of someone he loves, possibly a wife or girlfriend. Overwhelmed by that loss, he takes his own life, and the remainder of the level serves as a reflection of his memories before finally finding peace. That's only my interpretation though, the creator never confirmed the story, so other readings are possible. Regardless of its intended meaning, the level had a profound impact on me. It's the only Geometry Dash level that ever made me tear up, and because of that, it's still my favorite level of all time. Despite its quality, Asuka received only a star rate and it's accumulated just under 13,000 downloads. Today, it's a level that very few players have even heard of, a forgotten piece of Geometry Dash history that I believe deserved far more recognition. If Asuka had become popular when it was released, I think story-driven levels would have become common much earlier instead of art levels focusing mainly on visuals. Many creators may have started building their own levels around emotional narratives and characters. It's impossible to know for sure, but Asuka showed that a Geometry Dash level could make players feel something beyond excitement or challenge. Had more creators seen that potential in 1.9, the trend or story-based levels might have started years before it eventually became popular. One of the most fascinating examples of a forgotten masterpiece is Flight by GMD Craft. Created during Update 1.9, this level could have become one of the most influential levels in Geometry Dash history if it had been rated at the time it was released. However, it remained unrated for nearly 11 years before finally receiving a rating in late 2025. But what rating did a level this impressive receive? Feature? Epic? Maybe even higher? No. Due to the issues surrounding recognition for unregistered creators, Flight only received a star rate, and that is genuinely difficult to understand. This is one of the most impressive levels ever created, especially considering it was made within the 20,000 object limit of 1.9, a limit that even Death Moon exceeded. Despite those restrictions, GMD Craft created an incredibly detailed and immersive nature theme that still holds up today. The level's use of color is especially impressive. By abusing the blending feature, GMD Craft managed to create full rainbow effects and detailed textures using only 4 color channels, a technique I have rarely seen executed at this level of perfection. Even compared to many modern levels, Flight remains an incredible achievement. Some mythic raid levels today still struggle to reach the same level as atmosphere, creativity, and polish at this level achieved years earlier. If Flight had been recognized at 1.9, it could have completely changed the direction of level creation. It's impossible to know exactly what could have happened, but its influence could have been massive. Thank you, GMD Craft, for creating one of Geometry Dash's most forgotten masterpieces. And fuck you and your bias, RobTop. Entering Update 2.0, there is one final opportunity for unregistered users' levels that completely change the direction of Geometry Dash, a chance that even today has still not happened. That level is Pursuit by It's Freddy 468, also known as Player or Brian TP. Pursuit is one of the best 2.0 levels I've ever played. Its gameplay, structure, and polished decoration rival the quality of creators like Tamman, yet somehow it remains almost completely unknown. There is no reason this level shouldn't have been featured. Sadly, this was the creator's final full level, meaning the incredible style was never expanded upon. If Pursuit had been rated during Update 2.0, it could have encouraged more creators to move towards more modern and unique designs instead of the repetitive, generic gray design that became common during late 2.0 and early 2.1. The community could have entered a more creative and colorful era much sooner. Instead, another potential turning point in Geometry Dash history was left undiscovered. Unfortunately, Update 2.1 marked the beginning of the end for unregistered users. They could no longer comment, and when Update 2.11 released, they were completely blocked from uploading levels. This was done mainly to prevent upload bots from flooding the servers and causing issues, while also encouraging players to create accounts so they wouldn't lose their progress. However, the purpose of this video is never just to talk about forgotten levels. It was to highlight the unfair treatment that many unregistered users faced, not only from the community, but from the system itself. Many of these levels deserve far more recognition. GMD Craft could have been encouraged to create even more legendary levels. SJ could have become one of the greatest creators in the game's history. Jinhun could have continued creating emotional stories that pushed Geometry Dash forward. But instead, so much potential is left undiscovered. Because sometimes, all a creator needs is one person to notice their work. So next time you see a level, whether it's amazing, strange, or even rough around the edges, Show some support. You never know when that small bit of encouragement could inspire someone to create something that changes Geometry Dash forever.